And welcome to the podcast, Lead in Love. I'm your host, Nishanta, and my prayer for you is truly that you take the lead in your life, live the kind of life that you really want to live, and love yourself in the process. Today, I want to talk to you about families, generational curses, generational blessings, what we get from God, what we get from our folks, and how we deal with it in life. So I hope you got your tea ready or your coffee ready. You know, I'm a coffee drinker. And I just want to get down to the bottom of this and maybe just talk about it. Sometimes it just helps to talk things through. So here's the thing, if you struggle with the family dynamics of your bloodline, with your household, did you have problems growing up with your mom or your dad? Did you have little to no interaction with your parents, with your family? Then I'm talking to you. Even if you had and still have a working relationship with them, but you just know something's off, this message is for you too. See, everybody talks about generational curses all the time. Generational curse is the thing that, we ask God to take away from us. The preachers talk about all the time. You can get hands laid on you, etc. But it's really just labeled as the bad thing that everybody in the family goes through. Very rarely, though, do we talk about actually the generational blessings. I call those like the stock blessings, the things that you're born with. So most of the time we just call it, talent or a gift. If you can sing, your mom could sing, your dad could sing, on down the line, your grandmom could sing. If you had a good memory or you just are completely astute when it comes to memorizing the Bible, memorizing facts. These are all generational blessings, good things that trail on down through the bloodline. Not only you can do them, but your family can do them, your kids can do them, etc. I think sometimes what we fail to miss, though, is it is in direct contrast with our generational curse. We're born with both. On one side of the line are all those good things, all those blessings, all those things that can pull us up out of the gutter and make us whole again. All those things that we're known for. When somebody says your name, they're like, oh, I know they can do that. This is what they do. But then on the other side is all those curses, all those negative things, all those stigmas, all that shame, all that guilt that honestly travels through the bloodline because that's the way trauma flows. There's this Bible story, um, Cain and Abel. I know that I'm saying that there's this Bible story like it's a magical thing, but the Bible story, Cain and Abel, um, when Cain killed his brother, God knew immediately. And he said that he knew because Abel's blood called out to him. And I think that that's true, that there is something that communicates with people on a generational level through the bloodlines. That's where our looks come from. That's where our voices come from. The way we speak, like the dialect, the swang, the twang, that's where it comes from. Some things can be learned, but most things come right through you. That's why I've seen plenty of examples where the woman would be like, "My goodness, he act just like his daddy, and he don't even know his daddy. How is that?" Because there's something in the bloodline. It's just the way it flows. It's the way it travels. This is what makes you a match. This is how you match your family, both with the blessings and with the curses. My prayer for you today, though, is that you don't get stuck in the curses, that you focus more on the blessings and you realize the opportunity that you have anytime a curse or an act of a generational curse should show up. See, the thing that's the most hardest for us to deal with, the thing that's always going to bring the most pressure is always going to be that from our bloodline. Everything else we can probably 9 times out of 10 shake off. Those things that we learned in the streets, you can shake that off. Things that you learn from your peers, you can shake that off. But the things that you learn from your family, from the family, it's always the hardest because it's like your foundation. It's your foundation. So you honest to God have these foundational blessings and you have these foundational curses. And so with the blessings, sometimes we take it for granted because we're blessed. We're good at this thing. We don't even have to try. Minimum effort, maximum results. But then when it comes to the curses, honest to goodness, it's the same exact thing. We try to get away from it, can't. Try to put in that effort, won't work. We try, and it won't work till ultimately we do one or two things. We submit and say, okay, this is just who I am. This is the way it's going to be. This is what it is. Or we decide that we're going to lean a little bit to the left and focus more on those blessings. We're going to do the best that we can every single day to stomp out that curse. You can't stomp out a curse by wishing it away. It takes work. You got to work hard every day. You look in the mirror, you see your dad's face. You look in the mirror, you see your mom's face. You see your aunt's face. You see your uncle's face. You see your cousins. But at the end of the day, you're still you. And the bloodline that you carry, it doesn't control you. It doesn't own you. It is your foundation, but you are supposed to build from that. As you build from that, you cannot succumb to the nonsense. You're going to have to be strong. You're going to have to. I mean, where does it come from? Where does all this negativity come from? Where does all this positivity come from? There's the story Cain and Abel, where when Cain killed Abel, God said, his blood spoke to me. Basically, I heard him. He was telling on you. In that same way, trauma communicates throughout the generations. And we don't even know it. We don't live as long today as we used to live in the past and all of that. So we don't have the privilege of sometimes seeing our great-grandparents or our great-great-grandparents. We don't have that privilege. And sometimes some families don't even have pictures. We don't even have records. You know how that goes. But just imagine if you could see a couple generations back. You could look into the eyes of your future self. Imagine those stories. Imagine that knowledge. Imagine that gift. That's truly the gift of the ancestors. And it's also the curses of the ancestors. It's up to us to decide what it is we're going to use, what it is we're going to partake in. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Remember to take the lead in your own life and love yourself in the process. If you want to hear more from me, you can go to my website at www.leadinlove.com. I have a couple of YouTube channels also. The handles are at Lead in Love for the podcast, at Lead in Love Motivational for all the motivational videos from other people like Les Brown, Denzel Washington, Jim Rohn, etc. And then I have Quotes Lead In, which are daily motivational quotes specifically designed for me and my audience, which is you. So do me a favor and subscribe. Do me a favor and check out those things. Most importantly, comment so we can build a rapport, talk back and forth and the like. Okay? All right.